Welcome back, Mastering Mitzvahs, episode 159. That's Mike, I'm Dylan, and we got a treat for you today. We are sitting down with an old friend of mine from the industry, but he doesn't look a day over 20. We're so proud to welcome in Arrangements Unlimited, Dan Caplan.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Okay, so a little bit of backstory here. Dan and I met, through the Philadelphia market. And Dan runs a company called Arrangements Unlimited. It is a full-service party planning, decor, kick-assery. And we had the pleasure of visiting their warehouse and office, and I think we were blown away.
Absolutely. So, Dan, I want to hear from you what you do more than what Dylan just said. But we were so impressed. That's why we invited you here. Give us a little rundown.
Well, so yeah, we are full service planning, decor, kick-assery, apparently. I like that. We might add that to the title of the company. But what we do is we try to help from the beginning to the end, kind of take the family on the journey to create this image, this feel of what they want the celebration to be like, whether it's an old-timey carnival and everything is carnival type, or whether it's more traditional and arrangements and flowers and pretty like that. But we have been in business for 50 years now. And I am now 50 years. So it's kind of a weird, it's a weird thing to be in existence as long as this has. But we really have taken that and built every year. Every year we say, this year was great. Now what can we do better? This year was great. Now what can we do better? And a lot of the clients are like that too, in the sense of like, what can we do that's fun? Like, what can we do? I always tell people the rules, there's no rules now. I think you guys probably see it too, especially after all the COVID stuff and being, trapped indoors. If they want to serve dessert as the first course, let's serve dessert as the first course. Let's do a whole reverse evening and have fun with it.
I love that you're willing to think out of the box. So let's just go backwards for a quick second, because you didn't start this business the day you were born. You're second generation, I presume?
I don't know that. I mean, I was a very, very precocious child.
He was born with a clipboard and a checklist in hand.
Okay, that's entrepreneurship.
Yeah. No, so my aunt and my mother started the company. They actually started it as Pretty Bunches. They would deliver flowers. You would get a subscription, and they would deliver flowers every 2 weeks. They would drive around. Actually, I was in the car seat in the back of the car, while they did these things. And actually, as a callback during COVID, we started the Pretty Bunches subscription services again, which was kind of cool because we had to pivot to a lot of retail during then. So it was an interesting way. A lot of our clients, I thank all of them. They supported us by getting subscriptions and things like that. And we did a lot of flower deliveries. But so we started as that. And then one day, the question was asked to Lynn, I believe, do you plan the parties as well as flowers? And they said yes, because this business is the same as improv, right? It's yes and. And so she said yes, and how can we help you? And from there, that was a party out west. We go wherever the parties are. And they actually uncovered that the person that was working for them was kind of double dipping and overcharging and all of these things. One of the things that we take great pride in is that we're very transparent. Like, we're your ally, for the client, like we are on your team. And so we got a nice following from that. Those people recommended us to, their friends and their friends. And it's to this day how we get a lot of our events through referrals. We don't do a lot of PR. A lot of our events don't end up on Instagram or Facebook because we're, signing NDRs. We're signing, there's NDA, sorry, not an NDR. We can resuscitate the party. But NDAs and things like that. But so from there, we kept growing. We were out of Lynn's guest room to start. And then it was a little house in Bluebell. And then it was our first warehouse in Conshohocken. And then we've been in this location for about 13 years now. Yeah. And part of that, having things on hand, is one of the things that I enjoy doing with clients. Is they come, they play, we put this on the table. Do you like the way this looks? Should it be lit in red? How about blue? Should we use this tablecloth? It allows us to do all of it well, because as you know, the event, each part of the event is a collaborative thing. So the decor is collaborative in itself, but then it informs. The one that we recently did together, we had the kid's name was lit up in neon in front of the DJ booth with the balloons around it. And so that informed how you guys were going to do your set. And that informed how the photographer is going to take their pictures and so on and so forth. So I feel like starting in that collaborative, let's pull things in play and create kind of sets the tone for the whole event. It's collaborative. And that's the way that we grew. Everybody was.
Sorry, we all are so passionate about what we do.
Right? We come
That's one of those things that I think attracted us to your service so much is your passion and work together. One of our core values is collaboration, and it's something we take great pride in at Explosive Entertainment, but it's something that we don't see all the time. And knowing that, you come from a theatrical background, you care about lighting, you've talked to us about that, and the way that you understand the DJ's needs and mesh that into the client's vision, it's brilliant, and it's something that we don't see all the time. So, we often say to clients who say, "Well, I don't need a planner," you may not have met the right one yet, is probably the response.
So what would you say to the families that say, I don't think I need a planner, or how do I know I need a planner? Like, what, from your experience, kind of indicates them to go one direction or the other?
I think it's hard because, right, you don't know if you don't know. Again, with events, and they're very collaborative, and I would say 9 out of 10 times, or 99 out of 100 times, all of the vendors are coming at this. I want to do the best job that I can do for you, the client, from my perspective, as the photographer, as the DJ, as the caterer. But I always explain it kind of like a contractor. If you're building a house, right, you might have the best tile guy, the best plumber, the best drywall guy. But if the tile guy puts his tile down before the plumber's got the pipes down and he's got to rip the tile back up, like, everything's got an order, and you're doing double work and you're making it harder. So I always talk about the idea that it's not the photographer's job to know the timeline, or to be exactly, to be in the right spot at the right time all the time. They're going to miss some of those cues if, the kitchen's behind a little bit, or if the mitzvah girl asks you to play another song before we sit. And so there's always those things that move and change, and it's kind of our job to conduct the orchestra. And if this tempo's a little low here, then bring this one a little bit lower, and kind of.
I'm going to interject here. This is actually a perfect direction here for us to go on this podcast, because one thing that we've never actually done, and we've had other planners on this podcast, we've never actually talked about the process of working with a planner. So let's say the phone rings today, it's a new client, she's unsure if she needs you or your services or something like your services. What does that process look like from today's initial phone call to the time of the party? And if you could kind of break that down in a quick response, that'd be great.
Yeah, for us, I always explain it like this. You're going to have 3 people. If you're doing full planning with us, you've got 3 people on your team. You have access to us, pretty much whenever you want. We meet every 2 weeks, but in between that, you call me, you text me. But we keep you on track for your payments, for your timelines, when the invitations go out, when should we be doing tastings, when do you need to book your DJ, your venue, your photographer, and also where your money should go, what's more impactful, what's more important. And a lot of that they lead me to. I help them lead me. It's almost, what's the help me help you, the Cuba Gooding Jr. line, right? Or Tom Cruise to Cuba Gooding Jr. But it's a lot of that. We lead them along the path to get to where they want to go. And a lot of times it's the first event that they've done like this. So the questions that you don't even know the questions. But so if we started today and you're like, I'm going to sign on the dotted line, then we would meet every 2 weeks. We would bang out everything that you need in the beginning. And then there's always that lull, right, in the middle. Once you've got your venue, your photographer, your DJ, some kind of idea of food, maybe not exactly what it's going to be, but then there's a lull, because we're usually starting about a year out. And then 3 to 4 months before, and then we pick back up. We're getting the finishing touches on the decor. We're getting the finishing touches on the day of, the timeline, what the DJ might need, what the photographer might need, and all of those things. And they're just talking to us. They don't have to go to 7 different people. They don't have to go and hunt somebody down. I mean, we try to make it really stress-free. That's the whole point, right? Is to
I think there's something to be said about that. I'm considering the event that we just worked together on, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. But it seemed like it was really clear on the chain of communication. Like we internally do a pretty good job of connecting with all the vendors and all the client needs, but that's not always the case, and it's not always easy, especially if they have like specific, time frame constraints, like they're going on vacation or whatnot. You guys seem to get in on the ground level a lot earlier than at least we do or other vendors. So giving us that insight quickly, and you're able to talk the talk and walk the walk by both the client-facing side and the vendor-facing side, it made it easy for us to work with. And that's a big difference between like a true party planning professional and a decorator or a swag person who might also call themselves a planner, right? Like you are the go-between, and that night that we were there to execute, it's not like you were only there to call the shots. It was you were there to bridge the gap between the DJ, photographer, kitchen, and family, and any other vendor that may be a part of it. And it worked out really nicely, I thought.
I'm really glad you feel that way, because I look at us as facilitators. I don't want our team to be the guys in charge. I want our team to be the guys that make it happen for you, for the client, for the kitchen, whoever needs something to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we had moments where I think you were coming in and my team could meet you a little bit earlier because you had to get a couple things early and then go back and we're all in it together. We're gonna, hey, you need something from your truck? Like let's help you grab it. Same thing, with the kitchen or the venue. If the tables aren't up and we're sitting around, let's get it up. Let's get the floor plan right. You're right. Like it's one of the things I like about planning. I do like getting together that team. Like we're building the A team, right? So you have this team of people that you're working with, and there's not going to be a problem. There might be problems. There's always problems, but not between the companies, not between the vendors themselves. It's oh gosh, the power's out there. What can we collectively do? Do you have a generator? We might have a generator. I know a guy, a guy. Let's get this together. Let's get this going, because the event doesn't stop, right? I mean, it doesn't stop.
Well, I think an even simpler example is when the kitchen needed a couple more minutes to put the finishing touches on the food, and they told you, as opposed to trying to hunt down someone from our team, and you were able to convey it to everybody here. This is what has to happen. Now you guys do what you need to do to make that a reality.
And it's why we come with 3 people for us, because I don't know how. I mean, kudos to anybody who does it by themselves. But for me, if I need to go deal with a problem, whatever the problem is, if I'm taken out of the room for a problem, well, I want another problem to be solved too, if there's one. I want somebody else for the kitchen to run out to them and be like, you got to tell everybody we got 5 more minutes. If I'm off because, I don't know, the dad of the mitzvah kid needs their arm sewn back onto their suit. We had that once where the arm of a suit fell off. But, whatever it is, we have a kit. I don't know if you saw the kit, but the kit, we call her Teresa. And she is about 3 feet high and a foot wide, filled with everything you could ever imagine a person would need on that day.
I got something like that too, that we bring. And we've done something similar. Like I've sewn dresses back together before entrances, and like Band-Aids and ibuprofens, like that kind of stuff. It just shows that great vendors think pretty similarly.
We've never thought to name ours though, Teresa.
I have a different name for it, and it's endeared here, but not podcast appropriate. Well, so I guess because look, we're a New Jersey-based company, but you and I have known each other because I was in the Philadelphia area. I still am in the Philadelphia area a fair amount. What are some of the quick trends that you're seeing in the Philadelphia area, and maybe we can comment on it from the New Jersey's perspective?
I see a lot of immersion. I see a lot of almost like the tables themselves are a little less important, and the surrounding room, food kiosks to look like the food court. Even behind me here, these clouds, and we had light up clouds in the ceiling and light up clouds on the tables. But it walking into a space and feeling like you're in it. One of my favorites was we did a upscale tailgate, the Mitzvah. So the dance floor was a football field. And then we had the kiosks all around and tables that looked like they were kind of, the tables at the back of a stadium where you sit at the ledge. So everything, you felt like you were at the stadium for the day. I'm seeing a lot of that and a lot less of, worrying about the huge thing on the table and more about you walk in the room and it's a huge impact overall. Yeah, I would say that's definitely one.
Yeah. I think we've talked about it before, but it's kind of like, the more you can breathe life into your theming or your vibe, the more likely it is it'll actually transpire the way you're looking for it.
Dan, I'm going to pick up the next one here. You said something early in this podcast that almost mimicked what we said in a staff meeting earlier today, but you talked about a beginning, a middle, and an end of every party and having something unique or different or memorable about each piece. And I don't want to put words in your mouth. So can you explain, again, if you were talking to a client, like how you would take them through that journey? I think you used the word journey, the day of their party, and why you think there should be multiple looks or feels that are different.
That's a great question. I think one of the things I always talk about is, sorry, it makes me laugh because I think of movies, right? Any movie, action, drama, romance, whatever it is, it goes up and down. There's a wave to it, right? I always think of King Kong, the most recent King Kong. I fall asleep in it every time. First 45 minutes is nonstop action. And so it starts off and you're like, oh, this is great. Like, this is cool. And look at that. Oh my God. And then after like 20 minutes, you're like, okay, oh my God. All right. And then after like 40 minutes, you're like, you're out. There's no stop for a break. There's no levels to it. And so one of the things that we always talk about with the beginning, middle, and end, and kind of like reveals. So your cocktail hour is a great one, where your cocktail hour might be on theme, but maybe less theme, or maybe not even on theme. Maybe it's just some, nice candles, little arrangements and all that. And people walk in and they're like, oh, this is such a nice party. Isn't this delightful? And then the doors open the ballroom and they're like, boom, clouds and, all that. So right there, there's oh, this is really nice. But you build to the night. I mean, kind of what you guys do with songs and music and dances. And mitzvahs are great for that because you do have things that can slow it down for a minute, like the montage or the candle lighting. Sometimes it slows it down a little too much. You got to be, we have to be careful, like not to clump them all together. But then you get to the middle, and that's the part everyone's in the room and they're dancing and they're having a great time. And then maybe there's something that happens there. There's usually daddy-daughter dance, or maybe there's a performance of some kind. We had the dunk squad, go one time. Then you have another where you sit down and you chill for a little bit. There's the montage, whatever, and then back up. I think when you do these levels, when you have these moments, it feels like a longer night. It feels like a bigger experience. It also never gets boring. It's hard. I mean, I'm always amazed at you guys when there's a party that is, they're like, we're gonna eat and be done, and then you're gonna dance for 3 hours.
I was just about to bring something like that up. Like, Dan, what do you say to the family who's like, I just want a nonstop dance party the whole time? Formalities are not for us. But and we often are a little bit gun shy to bring up to families who say something like that, because we want nothing more than to dance the whole time too. But you're right. It becomes exhausting. It becomes mundane in some cases. It becomes repetitive. So what do you say to families like that?
Kind of exactly what I just did, but I say to them listen, at the end of the day, it is their party. This is the end of the day. They want to dance for 3 hours. We're going to dance for 3 hours. What I will explain though, is when you dance for 3 hours, people take breaks at different times. So the dance floor never feels quite full, never feels quite empty. It feels like a fractured party. And so again, as planners, we want to build the structure for the best party that you can have. And it's not going to the club. It's not kind of an experience that you've had before if you haven't thrown a party. That being said, I'm a yes and guy, right? So I'm going to give all the information that I can, and I'm going to recommend against it. I will say another thing like this is having no seating whatsoever, like no place cards for the adults, and for the kids, I think we go half and half these days. But for the adults, I'm an adult. I like a seat. I think when you have people milling around and you have your drink out and it's taken away, or your purse is at your seat, but someone wants to sit there, But these are things that at the end of the day, if someone's so focused on it, that upscale tailgate party, we had 2 tables for the older folks, and they knew who they were, and they had those tables, and the rest was all low tops and high tops, and it worked great. So, but I think with that, like if they're pushing a dance party for 3 hours or any of those things, listen, we're outside the box, right? But there are things that I always want. I don't want somebody to turn around and say, why didn't you tell us it would be like that? Because then it feels like it's not transparent, right? It's like you knew, but you didn't tell me.
It's probably going to be one of my favorite takeaways from this podcast is going to be what you said. Every party is like a roller coaster. It has some ups and downs. It needs to have a climax at the end. Like that's so important. And, you know, I'm glad you said it. We're going to echo it here. It's hard to dance for 3 straight hours. It's hard to not have assigned seats. It's you know, some parties want the endless cocktail hour, which is, you know, the term which is nonstop hors d'oeuvres. It still needs some sense of formality or tradition or things to just break it up. And we try to navigate that with music, whether it's switching up to adult music or kids music or switching up from hip hop to dance or vice versa. All of those things take people on that journey.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all human beings, right? And our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter as time goes on. We need to be entertained, and the changes. Oh, okay, that over there. Okay, cool. Oh, okay, that over there. Okay, I'm going to sit. I'm going to watch the dunk squad. Oh my God, dunks! All right, now there's an electric violinist up there, or you know, now Dylan's doing backflips. Can you do backflips?
I can try real hard for you.
I'd love to see that. So let's move into speed round here for the last couple of minutes of this recording. We're going to fire a couple quick questions at you, looking for some quick answers. I love your energy. Quick description of your favorite event that you've handled in the last, like, let's say, call it post-COVID times, last 4 years.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe the theme.
You just said let's do it as fast as possible. Let me ask you this really hard question.
Yeah. I'll go just mitzvahs, okay? I have a different one for a mitzvah, different one for wedding. We transformed a restaurant bar into an old-timey carnival. And the transformation was, I love taking a place and making it feel like it's a totally different place. And it was jugglers and, you know, there was a contortionist and music. It just felt like so much fun and so much joy. And we were outside of the box. They were outside of the box. Everybody was outside of the box.
When you have that kind of fun, I mean, we still talk to this day about Cinco de Science, the science-themed mitzvah that we did, you know, before COVID, I mean, 2019, something like that. Yeah, we were doing
science experiments, you know.
Like,
right?
So, like, we still talk about that. So it's the thinking outside the box and being open to that is huge. It's huge.
Well, because we all want to do different, right? I mean, the end of the day is I love different. I've been doing this for, 35 plus years, and I can do any of it. I love doing all of it. I love mitzvahs. But also when someone's like, can we do this? I'm like, yes, let's figure out a way to do that. Yeah.
What is your favorite piece of advice for any client, whether they have a planner or not?
Don't panic. Don't panic. I think we are inundated with so much social media and all this information. And maybe it's not mixed with knowledge. If there's a difference of information that we read and we say, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be doing this. But don't panic. Take a breath, whether you have a plan or not. If you have a planner, talk to your planner. If you don't, just like there's some gut feelings and gut choices you got to go with, and don't let the outside pressures make you do something maybe you don't want to do.
Okay, here's one. I'm going to role play with you for a quick second here. My son is into sports. He's not a dancer. I'm a little concerned that he and his friends are going to get bored. What do I do?
Well, you have a couple different options here, right? We set up a play area. Maybe we bring in some interactive sports games, or video games, things like that. We definitely, if you have the right DJ, they'll make anybody dance. I've had a couple, I would call them successes, because I didn't do it. The DJs did it, where the family's like, we don't dance. Nobody dances in our whole family. I mean, we'll get a DJ, but it's not really important. Meanwhile, the right DJ gets them dancing all night. But we would explore different options. We've had a couple like that, where we have had a dance party for the adults simultaneously with a little sports party, like the interactive games and things like that for the kids. Because at the end of the day, a mitzvah is the hardest blend of an adult party and a kids party simultaneously happening, right?
That's a great quote. The mitzvah is the hardest blend of an adult and kid.
Well, I mean,
party.
it's got almost always 3 generations, whereas weddings is typically only 2, and then anything in any other direction is only 1. So I mean, this is a 3-generation event that everyone has a say in it almost.
Right, right. And usually everyone does, because the kid to the grandkid to the grandparent, sorry, usually has some kind of say or some kind of input on it. It's a lot of input.
Well, you want it to feel collaborative, like you were talking about earlier. There is something to be said about that, because the less fractional, to use your word, you are, the more it's going to feel like a meaningful party. And I think that's the goal of it, is to feel meaningful.
You just made the good quote there of that it's collaborative on the family side too, right? Because it's generational. So you've got collaboration over there, you got collaboration with us, and you got collaboration with everybody. Huh, I like that connection.
There we go.
I mean, I feel like that's a really great way to kind of sum it all up. So Dan, what I want to do now is just tell the people where they can find information about you, your company, give us websites, tags, things like that.
We are on Instagram, arrangements_unlimited Instagram, arrangements-unlimited.com is our website. There's the Facebook. I don't know if anyone uses Facebook anymore, but I mean, I do. And we're based in King of Prussia. We have our warehouse and our studio right here all together. It's a fun little spot, as you guys have seen. You can call us, email us.
What territory do you cover?
So we covered the general tri-state area and then beyond. I'll be in Arizona next year. We were in Vegas. We've gone to Paris. I mean, if you want to take us somewhere, we'll go. That's
our mantra too.
Yeah.
We'll fly coach. We're good.
Yeah.
We often end with best piece of advice that you give a family. You already said don't panic. Is there any other last one you want to leave with?
Have fun. It's fun. It's a celebration. So don't panic. Have fun. Put them together, and you don't panic while having fun.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Well, there you have it. Arrangements Unlimited, Dan Caplan. It has been an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much. You've been tuned into Mastering Mitzvahs, and this has come from a byproduct of you guys saying, hey, you want to hear more from other industry pros. So thank you for that. So otherwise, you can check out all things at XE Events or xeevents.com. That's Mike. I'm Dylan, and we'll check you soon.